the year is 1895. There's a man by the name of Daniel David Palmer, known more commonly as D.D. Palmer. He migrated from Canada, he and his brother. They had come down from Canada, his brother stopped in Minnesota, and D.D. continued on to Davenport, Iowa. D.D. was known as a magnetic healer. He was a voracious studier of anatomy and physiology. He had a collection of skeletons. I don't know where he got this from. He had a collection of skeletons. He likes to study it all the time. He also had become a magnetic healer. Now, there's not a lot that's known about that. Hyatt probably has a better idea of the application of magnets, but essentially he would apply magnets to the body to stir up the circulation and to heal people of various ailments. He was known for having a cane and crutches collection. So these were all the people that he had helped that had no need, again, of the crutches or the canes, so he had saved those around, and so he'd gotten quite a reputation as somebody to go to if you had various ailments. But he had this other idea. He had the idea that the spine controlled everything in the whole body, and that if the spine was out of alignment, that would cause problems and cause a lot of different issues for people. Now, this is 1895. The concept of people at that time, medical community, everybody around the world, was that there was one cause for all health issues, and therefore there would be one cure for all health issues. And so they were all looking for that magic pill, that magic thing to fix everybody. And so D.D. Palmer thought he had this idea. There was a man in the building that owned the janitorial services there, a man by the name of Harvey Lillard. He had been born able to hear, but had lost his hearing after working in a cramped space in the closet. He had felt a pop in his neck, upper back area, and for years now had not been able to hear. So he had this conversation with D.D. Palmer. I can only imagine how it must have gone. You want to do what to my what? You want to push what? They have this in there. So somehow they were able to communicate, and D.D. Palmer was able to convince Harvey Lillard to undergo at least an examination. During that initial examination, D.D. Palmer was feeling along the spine and felt one area that he thought was protruding more than the rest. He thought that one had gone out of place, and that would be the one that he would apply. I'm guessing there was a lot more conversation here about what they were going to try to do at that point. There was no, can you check my insurance? There was no, are you sure this is going to work? I mean, they didn't know if this was going to work or not, right? So they laid down, or had Harvey lay down on this flat wooden bench, and D.D. Palmer used his hands and pushed that bone back into place. They heard another crack. The crack heard around the world. Nobody calls it that, by the way. That's something I made up for them. So they heard another crack, and Harvey Lillard got up and said, "I can hear the wagons in the streets. I can hear the wagons in the streets." So his hearing had started to come back. Now, just to be clear, D.D. Palmer did not bear hug him from behind like you would at your buddy at a barbecue and pop us back into place. D.D. did not walk on Harvey Lillard's back. It was a very specific adjustment. He wrote in his journal about this particular event, saying that he knew which bone he wanted to move, he knew which direction he felt he needed to go, and he applied force to take care of it, just specifically so. So he and his friend, a pastor by the name of Samuel Weed, came up with this chiropractic, which is Greek. It just means done by hand. And they thought they had this great new thing, chiropractic, and that it cures deafness. So other deaf people started to come to Davenport to get this deafness cure, right? No other deaf people got their hearing back from that. So what did happen, however, was there was a person who had a chronic heart problem, and the heart problem had gone away. So they knew they had something, but they didn't quite know what they had. So they started, again, the one cause, one cure mentality. They were performing adjustments and trying to help people with a lot of different health issues. And a lot of people were getting better, but D.D. Palmer at the time was very secretive about what he was doing. He would not allow anybody else to be in the adjusting room or the room with him while he was performing the adjustment, because he didn't want anybody to steal his idea. So he would have the person in there, and he was very secretive, and he would perform the adjustments, and they would kind of keep track of who was doing well or who wasn't. But after a few years of this, he determined that he wasn't going to be able to help enough people. So he determined that he was going to have to start a school. And so in 1897, they started the Palmer College of Chiropractic, which is still in Davenport, Iowa. And that got started teaching other people how to be chiropractors and perform the chiropractic adjustments. About 1903 is when his son took over. That's B.J. Palmer. And B.J. was really considered the developer of chiropractic. He studied all manner of healing arts. He was very innovative. He's the one who brought X-ray into the picture. He also had developed what they call the hole-in-one adjustment at times, where they only adjust that very first vertebrae. So it's the idea of like a suspension bridge, for example, but to make changes over here, they can twist this part of the bridge, and that makes the change. I mean, they believe just by adjusting that very first vertebrae, you can help everything all the way through that whole spine. He had a whole big garden built in the college where after that adjustment, people could go and rest for about an hour and let the adjustment settle in. He also had brought in treadmills and weight machines long before it was ever popular. So people would get their adjustments and perform all types of exercise in order to get better. So he was really considered that innovator. That chiropractic healing art then spread to every state, just about every country at this point. And that, of course, influenced me, or it influenced the chiropractor that helped me. So I think back to that sometimes, that very first conversation, that very first